I'm Georgia Nugent, president of Illinois Wesleyan University. And we are especially proud of the fantastic philosophy department that we have here. I'm speaking today with Professor Andrew Engen in our Department of Philosophy. I think it would be valuable if you just kind of start from go and say, what is philosophy? If a student came here to study philosophy, what's that going to be about?
I think many high school students have asked themselves philosophical questions like, does God exist? What should I do with my life? They've confronted moral dilemmas like, should I tell my friend an uncomfortable truth or not? And philosophers tackle questions like this in a rigorous way. They ask questions about value and being and knowledge and articulate answers to those questions and also assess those answers.
Your students have tended to say things like, he makes philosophy not only approachable, but exciting. What's exciting about philosophy?
One of the things that's exciting about philosophy is its radical questioning. Really, anything is up for debate in philosophy. I think it's also exciting for students to start constructing their own worldview, in part by comparing it to what other people have thought and alternative viewpoints. One thing that I think makes philosophy at Illinois Wesleyan especially exciting is the personal attention that's afforded by the small liberal arts college environment.
I know that as an undergrad, you were actually a joint philosophy and computer science major, even though you did your graduate work in philosophy. I imagine that combination would come as a surprise to some students.
The relation between them is the way that they're both about logic in a significant sense. When you're, say, writing a computer program, you're working in a programming language that is a logical system. And then when you're philosophizing, you're using logic to try to make sense of the human experience. So, while you have different tasks, in both cases you're using logic.
Mm-hmm. I know that you and some of the other members of the philosophy department are, well, in your case you have taught some, and I think some courses are in development, that are about the ethics of various sorts of professions or systems. So I think you have tended to teach medical ethics?
A lot of IWU's talented students who are planning to enter the medical field take the course. It's designed around debates in medical ethics like, should physicians always tell the truth? Is abortion immoral? How ought we distribute limited resources during a pandemic? And we approach these questions both by asking fundamental questions about value, like what makes actions right and wrong in general, and that then we can apply those to these debates. But we also apply these debates quite concretely to medical ethics case studies, and these are situations that students might encounter in their medical careers, so this gives them an opportunity to practice concrete ethical reasoning.
Mm-hmm. And so do your classes sometimes really hold the debate about abortion? That is such a fraught topic in our society.
Absolutely, and on all these issues we read arguments on either side, and so students often come in with a starting position where they haven't really considered the best arguments on the other side. So whatever your position on abortion, you will engage with persuasive arguments on the other side, and you'll have to defend your position or perhaps change it depending on whether you're convinced by
That's great. We need so much more of that in our society. Another interesting aspect of what we do here, what we offer for students here, is definitely the Ethics Bowl, where we have been national contenders for the national title of the Ethics Bowl. Probably the first thing to say is, what is an Ethics Bowl? And then maybe talk a little bit about how that works, your work with the team, the travel they do, and so forth.
So the Ethics Bowl is an intercollegiate debate style competition where teams argue for positions on contemporary moral and political issues. Recent topics that we've taken up include student loan forgiveness, whether the Electoral College should be abolished, freedom of speech on social media. That was in the headlines today, in fact.
Yeah, you do not steer away from the headlines, I can tell.
And it's an activity that I'm proud to say attracts students from across campus and different majors, and they bring different perspectives that's valuable for the team. The activity builds skills in constructing arguments, considering other points of view, oral communication, and teamwork. And students have a lot of fun with the competition and getting to know one another, working closely with faculty members, really forges relationships among all of us. And the travel itself is another way that those relationships are strengthened.
So you don't have to be a philosophy major to do it, but then you must be somehow kind of doing some philosophical, I don't know, workouts before?
Yeah, we do have a practice that we call philosophical boot camp, where we go through some logic and some ethical theories. So students have a starting point, and then throughout the preparation phase, students are learning from each other. Philosophy majors are teaching other students some more about ethical theory. Some of the students who are from the sciences have a lot to say about the empirical claims that are necessary to addressing some of these issues.
We have very strong outcomes for our students at IWU. What sort of outcomes are there for philosophy students? What kind of careers have our majors gone on to?
Philosophy is also a great preparation for law school. Philosophy students tend to do quite well on the LSAT, and other pathways that our students have taken include careers in hospital administration, financial tech, genetic counseling. So there's various possibilities, and the success of IWU Philosophy graduates in their careers isn't that surprising when you look at national statistics that suggest that when it comes to mid-career earning potential, philosophy majors actually do better than any of the humanities majors, and in fact do better than a number of majors that have a reputation for being more practical than philosophy.
What do you think of as just some of the main advantages for someone's life that they take away from having studied philosophy?
Well, I think anyone who takes even a philosophy course, I hope, is going to build skills in logical argumentation, critical thinking, clear communication, and considering other points of view. And I hope they gain an appreciation for philosophical questions. I hope after their coursework is done, they're still wondering, what is meaningful in life? And that sort of questioning makes a difference in how they live their lives.
Absolutely.
I also think just the approach of radical questioning can be helpful whatever field you go into. A successful entrepreneur might question the assumptions of her industry and come up with a whole new way of doing things. And philosophy can be applied to any subject, including whatever subjects IWU students are passionate about now and will be passionate about in the future.